Anyone under the age of 21 will continue.
Vision, Shackles and Bones and the Boogie started.
The law has failed time and time again.
We are angry.
For students to showcase their talent.
Welcome to OppiTV's first webcast for 2016. I'm Kirsty Mudede.
And I'm Karen Blau. Rhodes University mourns the passing of Reverend Dr. Simon Grubule, who served as the president of the convocation. The 88-year-old Grubule took ill and was admitted to Port Elizabeth Hospital earlier last week, where he passed away on 26 May 2016. Grubule was the first black student to receive an honorary doctorate degree from Rhodes University in 1978. A well-respected and influential figure in his community, church, and academic circles. In 1995, he was honored with the honorary doctorate degree from Rhodes University. Last month, he was honored with the National Order Fluturi, Silver, for his excellent contribution in the liberation struggle. The university flag is at half-mast as we mourn his passing. Plans for the memorial service will be communicated soon.
Fort Hare celebrated its centenary on the 20th of May 2016. This event saw noticeable alma mater, as well as the community, gather in celebration of Fort Hare's role in shaping African political history. Students protested over the lack of funding and food while celebrations happened inside. The University of Fort Hare has produced 5 head of states, including Nelson Mandela and Julius Nyerere. Among the dignitaries was President Jacob Zuma, who gave a keynote speech.
What kind of university do we want? And what kind of a student do we want to produce? We want to produce responsible citizens.
Banning schools, libraries, and university buildings means banning the future in simple terms.
Fort Hare University management secured an interdict against protesting students who planned to disrupt the centenary celebrations on Friday, the 20th of May. Students were determined to make their grievances heard even in the midst of heavy police presence.
We are not satisfied with the celebration of centenary. We are not satisfied at all. That's the problem that caused the students to go there and loot all the textbooks that were there at the ITX Center.
Our demands are not yet met, but in media they say our demands are met. The students were promised to be given 25,000, the 9 raised ones, but they are not yet. No one has given that.
Utom akazijongi uba thina sidinga ntoni. Into ayenzayo is to impress abantu from ezindaweni ezinkulu ukuba babone uba improvement. Yayibona thina we are suffering apha asityi asithini. Erez ufumanisa uba usiyafa zii-infections. Into focusa ngayo yi-reputation.
As the students continue to protest outside and display their dissatisfactions on the centenary celebrations, inside it is still business as usual.
The university's alumni and some of the country's ministers expressed their concerns as well as their hopes for the future of Fort Hare.
As Fort Hare, it has a rich legacy. It just has to find other ways of continuing to make its contribution for the betterment of humanity.
I'm not happy with what is going on here because this is our university and things are not as good as they were at the time.
Our young people must not be afraid to talk about their needs, their challenges. But now we fought for the liberation of the people of South Africa, and they have a right to raise their issues without destroying anything.
When we in the 70s banned schools and the like, it is because we did not have representatives of our own. The system of the day would not listen to us, and therefore we had every right at the time to fight in a manner that we thought fit would make those in power at the time to listen.
Although students were not successful in stopping the celebrations, they have vowed to continue protesting until their demands are met. I am Pure Buhyamandisa Dlamini, reporting from Fort Hare, Alice.
After a list of alleged rapists at Rhodes University was posted on Facebook, protests sparked under the hashtag #ReReference list. Students called for an academic shutdown and demanded answers from the university vice-chancellor and management. Courtney Jefter reports.
We have
rapists walking among us. We go to classes with rapists. We sit in dining halls with rapists. They are our tutors. They are leaders in high positions. We need to address these issues. We're calling for a boycott of classes because we're tired of having conversations. We've been having conversations. We need management to take us more seriously.
On Monday, the 18th of April, Rhodes University students scheduled a peaceful protest against rape and sexual violence within the institution. This came after a list of alleged sexual perpetrators was posted on the SRC page on Sunday, the 17th of April.
We are all victims of abuse and sexual violence. When I walk home at night and I am not safe because it is dark, I am a victim. I am tired of being scared. We are all tired of being scared.
Protesters went on to mobilize support from fellow students who had been attending classes in the lecture theatres. In the afternoon, students did not back down as they continued in the plight to make their voices heard. This is Courtney Jeffter reporting for OppiTV, Grahamstown.
During the protests, students faced police brutality following the university's attempts to disperse the crowd.
On Tuesday, 19 April, police arrived trying to disperse the students who blocked South Street, which is a public road leading into the university's campus. The Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Mabizela, urged police to stand down as it was unnecessary for arrests. Students confronted Rhodes Registrar Dr. Stephen Fourie, who allegedly called the police.
We have no one to call upon when we feel threats, and you know why? Because the people who are supposed to protect us, they take us in their vans. Yeah, my father lives in Gauteng. You are here, you're calling upon Sue and whoever. Yeah, it's fine then, stand there with us. Yeah.
Unzip Your Knowledge, an annual theatrical production, focuses on tackling social and academic issues within the university space. OppiTV was there to cover the performance. Ndibareni Nichiavera reports.
The week beginning 11 April saw its doors open for Unzip Your Knowledge, a show aimed at first years directed by Rhodes University graduate Simona Maza.
Why do you think it's important for first years to watch Unzip Your Knowledge?
I think it's important not just about Unzip Your Knowledge, but I think it's important to find new ways of learning and teaching and new ways of bringing issues to the fore. And a lot of students don't go to the theatre, and not a lot of theatre is necessarily politically pushed or is educational in that sense. So I think that if we're looking at, first of all, just the medium and different ways of talking about things and creating a conversation, theatre is very important.
Students find themselves having to unlearn some habits. Faced with multiple academic issues not limited to parrot learning, documented tips have since been the guide to getting through first year.
How do I weigh different scenes? I don't think it is an idea of weighing the scenes. It is what is our through line. First of all, it's always going to be based on the Are You Learning book and academics. Okay, great. What social issue, what is the greater social issue we want to bring in? Transformation, decolonization of the university and of the African mind.
It feels good being on top.
What is it that you enjoyed about the show?
I enjoyed the fact that it enlightened ignorant people such as myself, you know. Coming from a former Model C school, or a Model C school actually, I did not know there was such a thing as white privilege. I did not know how oppressed Black people were still.
Because everyone would be looking at me and think about this is fun.
I think it was good for the people who are closely related to it. I, as a foreigner, can't say to that many aspects, mainly, most probably just the DP thing.
While Unzip, your knowledge also focuses on serious topics, the delivery is nothing short of fun and comedic. This is Ndibareni Nechabera reporting for OppiTV.
We now turn over to Tom King for a sports update.
Here is our sports update for the weekend. The Rhodes men's hockey team faced the log leaders, the Lakeside Cavaliers, last week Saturday. In a thrilling match that ended in a 2-2 draw, the Lakeside Cavaliers fought back in the second half to come back from a 2-0 deficit. On Sunday the 22nd of May 2016, the Rhodes University men's hockey team squared up against the Lakeside Cavaliers at the Rhodes AstroTurf. In a highly competitive fixture, both teams fought hard, with Rhodes coming out on top after the first half with 2 points on the board. The Lakeside Cavaliers staged a comeback in the second half, levelling the match at a final score of 2-2.
Lakeside Rovers are the defending champions of the Eastern Province Premier League, so the best team in the Eastern Cape from last year, and they've actually strengthened their side. I mean, we just played against a team which had 4 internationals, versus we don't have any as such, but they've got 4 guys who've played for South Africa. Some of them recent, some of them not so recent, but they've all got bags of experience, and so to get a 2-2 draw is a really good result. So right now I'd say that's our best performance of the season. It was scrappy at times. We probably gave them too many chances in the second half. Our keeper had a fantastic game, which kept us in, but that's what you need sometimes. And I'd say the confidence we can take from that game and from some of the previous performances, but that would be a different highlight. And for me as a coach, quite exciting to see us be able to keep up and to play well against really class opposition.
Captain Dean Ferreira felt positive about the results of the match.
It went well. I think they're a really tough team. They're probably one of the better teams in the league, and it draws a good result for us. We probably could have won it, but it draws a good result, and yeah, we went out there and gave it our best shot. So I'm quite happy with that result. Obviously, very hot day, middle of the day. It's tough conditions, but yeah, good game.
With the Rhodes team not having had the best start to the season, there's more to look forward to as the season progresses.
So hockey, we're going up to Johannesburg. Wits are hosting. We're in the B section and so the top 8, and then there's the next 8, and then there's a C section, and we are top end of that B section, looking to try win that to get promoted into the A section. So that's really is the focus for Rhodes hockey first team this season, is to build our team and to get ready for the USA tournament in the Jinjula holidays, with a focus to win that to get promoted back into the A flight as such, and that eventually would give us varsity cup hockey, which you see on Monday night on TV sometimes. So that's the aim of the sports department, and that's the aim of the hockey team at this stage.
Although the match ended in a draw, the Rhodes first 11 felt that their game plan was well executed.
I think we had clear plans going into it, key players on their teams that we needed to lock down, and we did that. And yeah, I think our strategies worked out well. It was just 1 or 2 missed opportunities that cost us the game.
This is Tom McKink reporting for OppiTV, Grahamstown. In today's fixture, the Rhodes men's hockey side took on Galvindale. After struggling in the first half and conceding a goal 4 minutes before half-time, Rhodes fought back in the second half to secure a 2-2 draw. In boxing news, Grahamstown's Mziwa Nkolo Ndwayana will compete against Annalisa Gongisa for the WBF International Welterweight title at the Lillian Ngoyi Sports Centre in Port Elizabeth. Ndwayana, who is the reigning Eastern Cape champion, will be looking to add another title to his already impressive record of 14 wins in 18 fights, with a victory today. In football news, SuperSport United have claimed the last piece of silverware of the season by beating Orlando Pirates 3-2 in the Nedbank Cup final at the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane this Saturday. Although Pirates opened the scoring, SuperSport were quick to recover and secured a 3-1 lead at the break. Pirates fought back in the second half and narrowed the deficit from 2 goals to 1, but it was not enough to stage a comeback, and Supersport United emerged as champions. In this year's Comrades Marathon, South African runner David Gatebe broke the down record for the men's race in a final time of 5 hours, 18 minutes and 19 seconds. In the women's race, another South African, Shane Bosman, took home the gold after overtaking defending champion Caroline Vostman in the last few kilometers of the race to secure a thrilling win. That's all we have time for with sports this weekend. Back to you, Kirsty.
Thank you, Tom. That is all for our stories for this evening. Stay tuned for our studio discussion with Rhodes University's SRC Vice President, Zweli Hlatswayo, and Buhle Bezwendaba from the RU Reference List task team. From Kyron and myself, good night.
Good night.
Interested in OppiTV? Here's how to watch us online. Jump onto the oppidanpress.com in your web browser. Click the OppiTV tab and enjoy our wide range of video content on demand.
Good evening, I'm Zamalu Tuli. Rhodes University has experienced waves of disruptions this year, all in efforts to address pertinent issues affecting the students. These range from provision of food for Oppidan students who are unable to afford groceries every month, to students protesting against the rape culture that is present on campus. And this resulted in the establishment of task teams. As a consequence, members of the student body have been calling for the removal of the entire SRC Council based on issues of transparency as well as lack of engagement with student matters by the SRC. Members of the student body have remained, in the fight in trying to ensure that this indeed becomes a reality. In conversation joining us today, we have SRC Vice President Zweli Hlatswayo, as well as Buhle Bezwendaba, who is a member of the RE Reference List task team. Welcome.
Thank you.
I want to start with you, Mr. Vice President, being aware that the student body has contested your appointment into the Vice Presidency, as well as Gift Sunday's appointment into the Presidency. What was your take on the double resignation that occurred earlier?
It was quite unfortunate. We had a very very good visions from our sides. They had to resign because of no reasons. But with that, the students, when we were appointed, students felt like they don't have confidence in the new presidency. So in my mind, I thought, do I resign? Do I step down? The Constitution, we were there because of the Constitution. So I then thought it's going to be the same process. So amongst the councillors at the qualities, the vice president at the time. So if I resigned, the process was going to happen again. So which means there was going to be the second best after me after. So it's best I stay around because I was the best that was selected there.
Now, Buhle, you've played an active role in the #RUReferences protest and advocating the removal of the SRC as a whole. I just wanted to know, do you think that the SRC did not fulfill their mandate in raising awareness about rape culture on campus?
I think definitely. I think from the jump, it was clear that the SRC wasn't fully committed or with the students supporting them. I think that the only SRC council member who showed some sort of support was Naledi at the beginning with the whole Chapter 212 posters. But even after that, getting some sort of collaborative support from the SRC was very unsure, and at times they were with us, at times they weren't. And so there was never ever a clear stance coming from them.
And Zweli, the 20th of May, the second student body meeting was held. I wanted to know how the SRC went into that meeting. How did you prep for that meeting? And how were you prepared to face the student body as a unit?
We had a meeting just before that. It was just merely focusing on the councillors' well-being, and also just to remind, because just the role of the vice president is to check each and everyone's project and how they are doing. So it was just to remind everyone that you've done your work up till this point, and we have reported to Student Parliament that you've done your work, like the work that Naledi did, because a part of the portfolio is the Activism and Transformation Councillor. It's to raise awareness about such issues like rape culture and stuff. So hence she was leading that that project. So going into that meeting, what we did was just to remind councillors of what they did, and if they get voted out, they should just go down saying that at least I've done something.
And it's been brought forward that dissolving the SRC around this time of exams is a little bit difficult because the SRC is responsible for DP appeals and that. So do you think that the student body should still go forward in trying to dissolve the SRC, or should they wait a bit?
I think the student body was prepared enough to dissolve the SRC when that vote of no confidence happened. And I think although the SRC is in charge of important work such as DP appeals and stuff, their job is also to ensure that students are not being raped on campus, and we shouldn't keep people in office just because they still have work to do. What about the work that they haven't done? And that's our main focus, really. RU reference lists, our job is not to focus on DP appeals. Our work is on rape culture and obliterating that on our campus.
And because the momentum has sort of died down in comparison to when the list came out, what keeps you motivated as a task team to move forward with the mandate?
Well, I think a lot of things haven't been resolved, and I think we're constantly faced with many hurdles, even post-momentum, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think anyone who's on the task team is willing to back down until we have answers. And I think a lot of things have aggravated the situation, such as the interdict. So it's kind of impossible just to be like, oh, okay, well, we've done our work.
And so you don't think that the interdict has restrained you in any way?
It obviously has. I mean, that's obviously clear. We can't make ourselves as, I don't know, what do you call it? As visible as you could pre-interdict. So that's definitely hindered our protesting kind of initiatives, most definitely.
And there's a lot of people on campus feel as though there's no role for the SRC anymore. And following the lack of transparency in the SRC, do you think you guys are necessary?
I think the SRC, with respect to Rhodes University, I think SRC is very necessary. It's just as an SRC, we've had some downfalls since the beginning of the year. That shouldn't affect the SRC going forward. I think also it shouldn't affect this SRC going next semester. And I'm sure students next semester will not be talking about vote of no confidence. Rather, they will be maybe looking at how we can extend the term of the SRC. We've got good projects that the SRC wants to do, but there are some things that hinder those projects. And I think students will give the chance as they did in the vote of no confidence meeting.
But the students are saying that you have not done. So a lot of people want to know how long, will it take for something to happen from the SRC?
I wouldn't give it time here, but definitely things are gonna happen, and things have been happening. It's just I think most of the work of the SRC work is divided into two things. So there is the PR work, and then there is the administrative work. So I think the SRC has not done most of the PR work in terms of being there, being visible and stuff like that. But in terms of making sure that students do not get financially excluded, starting up projects to make sure students come back next year, making sure DPs and maybe DP appeals are successful, and all sorts of things that students face. We had situations where in the beginning of the year where students didn't have residences, and we vouched for that, and we made most of the students on campus, they're happy that the SRC was there because now they're in residence.
And Buhle, you weren't physically sleeping at the SRC offices, but I know there was an occupation taking place. Do you think that sent a strong message to the SRC?
I don't know. I'm actually a little bit unsure about that. I think our physical presence obviously disrupted. Have to be scared to say that word these days. But I think our physical presence definitely did disrupt. I think, however, in our view, the SRC got the backing of management, and so that made them come out stronger than we would have expected them to come out as people who are meant to be representatives of the student body. So I don't know, I think the SRC really just thinks that they weren't elected, rather they just put themselves there and therefore they can do whatever they want to do.
And on the contrary though, you're occupying the offices and that hinders the SRC from doing their job, which is effectively what you're accusing them of. So how does that work?
Well, based on our initiative being that of the reference list, and also Oppidan students Rhodes as centinary, those were students that were doing the work for themselves anyway. So why not take up room in the offices where they were doing nothing for us? Really, we were doing it anyway, so I really don't see any disruption.
And police were called to the SRC offices. Was that a silencing tactic on your behalf?
No, it was not. The police were not called by the SRC. What you need to realize is that that space is a university property. So the SRC doesn't own that property. Whatever the university decides to do with with regards to the interdict, it's up to them. So yeah, we as an SRC, we didn't support the calling of police, but the work had to be done. We did work outside of the offices as well, but yeah.
And Buhle, do you think that the RU References task team and the SRC can ever sit in one room and discuss ways going forward? Do you think you could work together to make this campus a safer place and to seek the mandates of the RU References task team?
Personally, I'm not willing to work with someone who has been accused of rape, so that's something that needs to go. In terms of the rest of the SRC, maybe in the future, if we start electing people not based on their popularity, but work that they can actually do, then perhaps, yes, we could do that. But I don't know. For me, I really do see the SRC as a defunct body, so I'd rather students go forth and do things for themselves.
So the SRC in general or this specific SRC?
I think this SRC, but also SRCs before have... I mean, they do work. I'm not taking that away from them. But when it comes to the crunch of issues, it's like, dololo, where are they?
Zweli, the SRC, to many, should have been in the forefront of the hashtag RU reference list. And when people questioned the whereabouts of the SRC, was the SRC there? Where was the SRC?
Okay, yeah. I think that question is to it dates back on just where it started. I think before the area residents protest, the project chapter 212 was presented to the SRC by the Activism and Transformation Councillor Naledi Mashishi, and we did approve, and we said we was going to support the project. We had the meeting with chapter 212. The first phase was to put up posters. Second phase was to submit a list of demands, and the third phase was to have a protest, a nationwide protest. So it was sort of hijacked by the IU reference list that went out. So what happened is that now it became a protest, of which was good. It was going to go there, and but it was not in the plans of the SRC that this is how it's going to go. So the SRC would have wanted to be at the forefront of the, that was the initial plan of the third phase. We were going to be at the forefront of the protest and sort of, but then things just worked out differently. But we were in support and in principle we were there physically as well. We encouraged the Activism and Transformation Councillor to always be there, because she's the one who represents activism and transformation agendas in the SRC.
So going forward, do you see the SRC working together with the hashtag RU References task team, or as Buhle says, is that out of the question?
I think I see SRC working together with RU References. I also see SRC working together with anyone, because I think we need to define what it means to be a representative. So students elect you to represent them, and if it's a case whereby they feel they can do something themselves, then the representative, the most honorable thing is to shift back if someone can represent themselves. But if they don't have the time to represent themselves, then as an SLC, you go and represent the students. So the SLC is willing to work together with any student, individual or a task team or maybe 100 people. SLC is looking to work together with anyone, because 15 people cannot make decisions, or maybe big decisions for 7,000 students or 8,000 students.
And in closings, really, what would you like to say to the student body?
Well, I'd just like to maybe just tell the student body that the SLC is going to do very good work next term, going forward for the year, and also they shouldn't lose hope on SLC as a body. The SLC is a very important institution, I think, and I think once we lose that as students, then we're running ourselves into a very difficult situation. So I think, can we just have trust in this SLC and just give them the space to prove themselves, and then we'll see going forward.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really do hope that both bodies that you represent as individuals can come together and find amicable solutions going forward. Thank you for joining us tonight, and good night from us at OppiTV.